My jealous coworker made a comment about my dead son, and everyone is telling me to forgive her. My husband Ethan and I have been married for 6 years and always wanted a bunch of kids. We waited until after getting married, religious reasons, before trying. I got pregnant about 4 months after the wedding and had our first baby girl, Emma. Then about 2 years later, we had our first son, Noah. Another year after that, our second daughter, Lily, arrived. And finally, 3 years later, we had our second son, Lucas. But this last pregnancy was really different from the others. Ethan kept complaining about these weird chest pains and feeling constantly exhausted. During a routine checkup, the doctor discovered he had some heart condition that needed immediate treatment. Thank God, Ethan recovered completely. But the doctors told us the medications he'd need to take would make it impossible for us to have more kids. He fell into this deep depression after finding out because he felt like he was letting me down by not giving me the big family we talked about. I kept telling him it was totally fine, but honestly nothing I said helped for like 2 months straight. He was supposed to go back to work after 4 weeks, but ended up taking 5 months off. I reached out to my sister Jessica because we've always been super close. She's been an amazing older sister my whole life. But her husband Dan just seems to have this weird issue with me and Ethan. He's always been jealous of our family, even before we had kids. Back when Ethan and I were dating, Dan made several comments about how Ethan's family was too privileged compared to his own upbringing. He's constantly comparing his kids to ours and makes these annoying comments about how unhealthy Emma's lifestyle is since she's already a national swimming champion at her age. He says she should be enjoying normal kid stuff instead of wasting time in chlorine all day. We've had this conversation with Emma and she literally loves swimming. Like she'd be in water 24/7 if we let her. But whatever, I mostly just ignore his comments. Jessica keeps saying he's just stressed from work or some other excuse, but honestly, I think he's just kind of a jerk. Jessica helped us out tons after Ethan's recovery, bringing meals and watching the kids some afternoons so I could take him to appointments. That was actually super helpful. So anyway, Ethan is literally the best father on the planet. The kids adore him. But since his heart thing, he's been a bit distracted. Like he'll sometimes forget to pick up Noah from chess club or leave the garage door open all night. I never mention it because I know he's dealing with a lot, but it does worry me sometimes. Then the worst day of our lives happened. Ethan took the kids to the local park while I was working my Saturday shift. Noah wanted to try the new skate ramp and somehow he fell really badly. After 7 hours in emergency surgery, he didn't make it. I still can't type this without crying. Ethan doesn't remember exactly what happened, and I don't push him for details. It destroyed us both. We've been trying to cope these past 3 months, putting on brave faces for our other kids even though we're completely shattered inside. So when Dan invited everyone over for this big barbecue at their place, we thought maybe it would be good for the kids to hang out with their cousins, get their minds off everything. Most of my family was there and super supportive, lots of hugs and kind words about Noah, except Dan. According to Jessica, he's under pressure at work. But I was dealing with grief and never acted like such an asshole. We were trying to enjoy ourselves, and the kids were having fun playing in their fancy new backyard playground. Then the kids started horsing around and broke Dan's expensive grill thermometer. When we tried to calmly talk to all the kids about being careful with other people's stuff, that's when it all blew up. Dan came charging over and started screaming at me and my kids, saying we had no right to discipline his children. He said my kids were out of control and probably broke the thermometer on purpose. I told him all the kids were involved, including his precious little monsters. Things escalated quickly. Jessica tried to calm him down, but then other family members came over to see what all the yelling was about. That's when he completely crossed the line. He looked right at me and said, "Maybe this is why your son is dead." The entire backyard went silent. Ethan just stood there frozen. I burst into tears and ran to the car. Ethan stayed behind demanding an explanation while I just sat there sobbing. What happened next was even crazier. Instead of apologizing, this jerk doubled down. He told Ethan that some people just aren't meant to be parents, and that maybe if we paid better attention, Noah would still be alive. Jessica finally intervened and made him go inside the house. Now Jessica keeps calling saying he was just emotional because of work stress and that we should forgive him for the sake of family harmony. My parents are kind of taking her side too, saying life's too short to hold grudges and how he didn't really mean it, but I can't just pretend this didn't happen. Ethan says we should cut them off completely. I feel terrible putting Jessica in this position, but who says something like that about a child who died? Am I being unreasonable for not wanting to forgive him?